Hey, Zara, I had a quick question if you have a minute.
Hi, Michael. What's up?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just show me how to configure OnBase Notes.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help. Let me share out my screen.
In order to configure OnBase Notes, you'll need to go into the configuration module and you'll want to go into document and select note types. So we'll create a new note, and for this example, we'll call it new note or annotation. Once we click create, we'll want to assign user groups. So we'll assign the manager user group, and you'll need to apply the privileges that you want each user group to have. I would like to mention that when you add another user group, the same privileges from the previous group will be applied to the newly added group. In order to modify those privileges, make the changes that you need and select modify for those changes to be applied. And once we close out of here, we'll click color. So there are custom colors that can be used to distinguish and be used as a visual aid to identify the type of note by the color. For example, accounting notes may be green while HR uses yellow. For this example, we'll use gray. And once the color is assigned to the note type, we'll go into attributes. We have different settings that can be applied as well as styles that'll dictate which attributes we can assign. So the first difference we have here is notes and annotations. The difference between notes and annotations are that notes can be applied anywhere on the document and annotations are specific to a location on the document, which would provide further insight as to the options with highlight with note attached, arrow, ellipse, overlap text, and icon stamp. And once we go further down, we have our display options. So we have display note open, which will allow the note text to be shown when a user first opens the document compared to the note being closed when that user first opens the document. Secondly, we have the hide window option, which can be used as a security measure to hide the note on an open document. The note or the icon will not be displayed, but the note is still available to users with rights to that note. Notes that are configured to be hidden are listed with other notes as well. And if we select the hide window, create opens window becomes available and is required for the create opens window option to become available. The create opens window allows text to be added to a note on creation. The note and the icon will be hidden in cases where the document is closed and reopened. The note is minimized. And if we come further down, we have the remains in viewer option, which will allow the note type to remain in the viewer regardless of where the user is on the document, even when scrolling. Repeat on all pages will allow the note to be repeated on every page of a multi-page document, and repeat on all revisions. So if you're creating a revision of a document in OnBase, for example, there's a multi-page document and page 1 needs to be the last page of the document instead to keep that as a separate revision of the document. This setting will allow for the note to be applied on all revisions. There's also redaction settings available, which will allow users to remove information from documents, but this option does only apply to certain file types. If there is any questions or you're unsure, feel free to reach out to your first line of support. If we come further down, we have print settings. So as default, this doesn't regulate user options. Users can choose between note icon or annotation on document note text on document, or note text after the document. Secondly, we have always print on document. So no matter the user option for this note type, it will always print on the document. And with always print on document option selected, the option to only print note icon or annotation becomes available, which will only print the note icons and not the text. Lastly, for print settings, we have never print on document, which is the exact opposite of always print on document. So no matter the user selection for this note type, it will never print on the document. And if we come further down, we have privacy options. So if we select disable privacy options, this will remove the ability to enable any of the privacy options. Disallow view prohibits all other users from viewing the note. Disallow update prohibits all other users from editing the note. And disallow delete prohibits all other users from deleting the note. And we also have shortcut keys that can be set. So if we wanted to set the shortcut key as Control F to create a new note, or whichever is more feasible for the organization, this can be set according to those standards. Lastly, we have default text, which will create a note and apply the text when the note is applied to the document. This will save users time if they do not need to add anything else to the note, or they can add on to the note as needed. And at the very bottom, we have fonts. So fonts can be assigned as needed to assist users in streamlining their work process. We'll leave this as default, as well as the other settings, and select Save. The next option is the auto name string. So just like a document type in OnBase, each note will have a name that is configured with the auto name setting. And here we will leave this as the default as well. So we'll keep this with the note type as well as the note date, and select Save. The next note configuration will be the icon. This will allow users to distinguish and provide an additional visual meaning for the user. These are completely optional, but it's also based on the business's needs. So once you set an icon, we'll select Save, and that completes the configuration of your note. Once those changes have been made, you'll want to perform a cache reset by going into Utils, Service Monitoring, Reset Cache, Yes, and OK for those changes to be applied and picked up on the next relaunch of the OnBase application of your choice. And you'll be good to start applying your notes.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions that you'd like to see answered in an upcoming Question Corner video, leave us a comment below.